Hey Jonah, before you go inside, just say hi to the folks. Jonah,
what's up YouTube fam?
He's got to go do some schoolwork, but I get to be outside having fun. See ya. You got this. I love learning, but my preference is to learn outside. Whoa! Leaves upon leaves. Goodness, they're all coming from that big tree. Coming down here, down here. That is going to be a nice little addition to my garden, actually. So just you wait, these leaves are going to be used for sure. Hey girls, come on over here. These girls are doing good. Girl cream. All right. Always having so much fun. All right, folks, today is a mulch day, a wood chip day. We're going to be using some wood chips to make my pathways in the garden so that they are used not only for your plants to keep that water retention up and also to keep the nutrients being put back into the soil. The carbon content is going up as you put in more wood chips or whatever type of mulch material you've got. But also we're using the mulch for the pathways to minimize our compaction. We don't want to have compaction in the garden. I think I've decided on pumpkin. This is pumpkin here. This friend over here that broke earlier, see that break? This is old Bessie. But I think we're gonna bring her back in. We'll just get some new wooden pieces. And she'll be fine, she'll be good. She'll be getting stuff done with us. Friend of choice. One reason I like pumpkin is that it's super light. You know, super light, super strong. I mean, these things are made to carry like 500 pounds. 500 pounds, that's like 3 or 4 of me, you know, I don't weigh that much. Got my trusty shovel. This garden is 20 feet by 50 feet currently. So when I started this garden, I wanted to make it a 1,000 square foot garden. I wanted to just show y'all next spring especially. I mean, right now we're growing a little bit of greenery, but next spring, just the abundance that is possible with this type of space. It's really not that huge of a space. As well as around the house, we'll be having some landscape aspects to show you how you can make your landscape both beautiful and fruitful, grow food around your house, and windowsill areas. You know, I'm trying to incorporate all kinds of different niches that people have, whether you are, you know, in a farmland or more urban areas with a little less space. I really want to show you that all of y'all can grow a lot of food, and a lot of herbs, a lot of nutrition really. This being 20 feet, I realized actually after I put this down, I had measured from the edge of the outside board to the edge of that. So that's 20 feet. So really what I need to do is I need to bring the outsides out 1 foot on each side. My idea is this. These boards have been down for a while, and they've really started to kill off a lot of the weeds and grass and such. So why not just pop it out? We don't need to put cardboard down if we put thick mulch, and show you all how to use thick mulch to really clear an area. When we come into a space, usually there's something already growing there. And what we want to do is we want to claim that space, that area, for what we want to grow. And in order to do that, we need to get what's there out of there. Now traditionally, that has meant deep plowing. They come in with a plow that cuts the soil and it flips it over on top of itself. So it's cutting like this, and just the way it's shaped, it flips it over. And that's what we did to, you know, all of our prairies, and really it's pretty detrimental to the environment. It really just kills the soil essentially, because what you have is the microorganisms in the soil are the life of the soil. And when those microorganisms that are not used to that much oxygen, the more anaerobic microorganisms that are deeper, you know, beyond like a foot or even, you know, half a foot in the ground, when those are flipped over and put on top of the soil, all of a sudden they're exposed to all this oxygen and then they die off. And then you have the aerobic organisms that are on the top. They're used to like all kinds of oxygen, all they want, but then all of a sudden they're buried on the bottom and they die off as well as like the worms, and you know, just the whole soil structure is made to have those different tiers, the different layers different horizons. And when that gets all flipped upside down, it's not good. It's not good. It's kind of like us trying to walk upside down. It's not gonna last very long. I mean, I could try it. Let me try real quick. You ready for this? I'm gonna try to do this. See how long it lasts. Oh yeah. Don't call me crazy. I'm just having fun, okay? Just having fun out here. So when we invert the soil layers, this is kind of what it's like. Hey, oh. That was a few seconds there. Let's try it again. I'm trying to walk to you. So as you can tell, that didn't last very long. Just an example of what can happen if you try to invert those soil layers. It doesn't work so good. So what can we do instead, Gardenguy? What can we do instead to preserve the life of the soil while also claiming a new area to grow the plants and fruits and vegetables that we want it to grow? How do we turn that kind of growth into garden area? How do we turn, you know, places like this, it's got all kinds of grass and weeds and stuff growing, how do we turn it into that right there? Well, I'm glad you asked. The best method that I've found, and I've been studying this for my whole life, even though I'm young. I mean, I've been eating up the garden, literally and figuratively, for my whole life. So what I've found is the best method is to follow nature's method. I mean, look at all this out here. We have all these leaves falling down, all the decaying matter. If we can bring in enough organic material to our new space to cover it up, then that smothers out the plants that are there already. The organic material starts to break down, starts to turn back into soil, and as that happens, that initiates, that invigorates the soil life, the microorganisms, and they start to proliferate, take over the soil, and all of a sudden we have a highly active, potent space that doesn't have the pre-existing plants. You might be asking, well, okay, I come in to my backyard, put a bunch of mulch down. I've done that before, and guess what happened? All of a sudden, all these weeds started popping up. Boom. Weeds were coming through, especially plants like Bermuda grass, bushes. What do you do with that? Option number one is literally just to put a bunch of mulch on top. Whether that is wood chips or straw, there's a lot of differences to the types of organic material that you can add to a space. You know, there's benefits and downsides to all of them. But if you can bring in organic material and let it sit on top, especially in the fall time is best, because then you have fall and winter time where all of that organic material, just like this stuff, is breaking down and turning into soil. The mushrooms are starting to work on it. Fall is the best time to really add in all the nutrients you can. But when we get into areas like this where it's pretty gnarly stuff, we've got privet and box elder and all kinds of just different wild or invasive plants. How are we going to clear that? That would be where landscape fabric comes in. Not all fabrics are created equal. There's some that are just going to tear apart, plants are going to come right through them. There's some that are actually pretty tough. Like this type that I buy is woven, so it's got all kinds of different directions with the fabric. It's very, very tough. It's hard to get through. This is going to provide some very solid coverage for a long period of time. And then the third option that I like is to do the no-till method that like Charles Dowding does, where he comes in with cardboard and then compost on top of that. That is what I've done here, even though for me I did 2 different layers of compost. I did mushroom compost, and then on top of that was more green waste compost, like chipped up wood branches and twigs and stuff that has decomposed over time. First method I'm going to show y'all is the wood chip method, purely wood chip. I'll move these to the side 1 foot, make a straight line so that we can make sure and keep the garden all organized. And then we're just using this line as a guide. Pull these back out, right to it. There we go. Go down the line. These pieces have really done a great job of killing off. I mean, look at that. That was just a live grass just a little bit ago, about 3-4 weeks ago. Currently, it's just all died off. So I would encourage anybody who's trying to do this primarily wood chips method. I mean, this is a small space, but imagine this on a large scale. I would go ahead and cover an area with plastic or with some type of material that's going to restrict the light from coming down in on the existing plants, and it will kill them off like this. Essentially, that just means that those existing plants are going to have a harder time popping up through the new mulch that you're putting down. Let's investigate what's going on here. This is going to give us a good idea of what plants are the toughest. See these plants popping up right here? These are wild violets. Wild violets popping through. And I can actually see all those right there? That's wild violets. So there's different types of plants that are going to be more hardy, have a more tendency to pop through whatever material you're going to put on top. See right here, that's Bermuda grass popping through. See it? Got those rhizomes. Any plant that has a storage structure of some sort, like their roots are large, or whew, just got myself, whoops, still fighting back. Wow. Any plant that's got a storage structure that's you know, holding nutrients in there, that's going to be the plants that are harder to get, because they don't have to have light for a longer period of time. They can still shoot up through material, whatever you're putting down. Hey, there's a worm. That's what I like to see. See the cardboard, how the edges are getting frayed and they're all decomposing. That's so cool. I mean, that's turning into soil after only like, what? I think like 3 or 4 weeks. Crazy. You know what, I just realized something. This video is already gonna be fairly long. Let's go ahead and make 3 different videos for the different types of clearing methods that I'm going to recommend. You know, number 1 being mulch or wood chips, and then number 2 being the fabric, number 3 being the no-till, more Charles Dowding method. Whoa, look at this guy, Mr. Worm. You doing good? All right, buddy. You're going to be covered up with mulch pretty soon. Don't worry about it. Just hang out right there. Boom, chicka boom, chicka boom boom, boom. Everything's all spaced out more. I like it. I feel like I got more space. Now let's bring in that mulch. This first method really works best if you're not trying to clear an area that has a ton of more invasive, heavy-duty, hardcore plants. I would not use this to clear that type of stuff, or a yard that has a lot of Bermuda grass, because let's just face it, those plants are going to pop up through what you're putting down, and then at the end of the day you'll be in the same pickle you were in before. Anytime you're getting wood chips, best thing is try to get them from a company that has cut down the entire tree. The more leaves, needles, and twigs, as Mr. Paul Gauchi says from Back to Eden method, is the better. I'm glad to see that these are already been breaking down. They've got a lot of wetness to them. I'm trying not to say the word moisture because a lot of y'all don't like that word. Tell me if you like the word moisture or not, because I'm okay with it, but if you guys don't like it, then let's not use it. Let's come up with something better. See some needles. Needles, twigs are in there, right there. So, got all kinds of combination of different decaying materials. It's going to be awesome. Whoa, that was a big moment, folks. First little bit of wood chips in this garden. I mean, we had compost before, but that's the first wood chips I've used. It's exciting. Wow, look at these girls are just doing nothing while I work hard. What in the world? Now, when you're using wood chips to clear land that has more of these invasive plants, you want to really put it more like 8 or 10 inches thick. I mean, that's pretty thick. It's going to take time to break down. If you want to add nitrogen, that's going to help the whole process. So like chicken manure or some kind of other nice organic sort of, or some other source of nitrogen. Hey, the neighbor just came over and we were talking about the garden, how good it looked. That was fun. Okay, back to it. The mulch. If you're clearing an area that has more invasive plants, use 8 to 10 inches of mulch and try to add in nitrogen. That's going to speed up the decomposition process. If you're doing what we're doing now, we're just going to do 5 inches. 5 inches is the normal general amount. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different walkway paths. The whole perimeter is a walkway path, and then there's 3 paths in the middle. Okay, there we are, all the way down the edges, nice and cleaned up. I'm going to use the blower real quick to blow all the rest up in. There we are. 1.5 foot walking way all the way around the garden. As you can see, it's about 5-6 inches deep. I'd say it's looking pretty good. What do y'all think? And there it is, friends, there it is. All the borders are done. I'll need to do 3 more pathways going in between the 3 planting 4-foot wide planting beds that I'll be putting in. But for now, that's a good start. Hope you all enjoyed this. Really, that's just showing you one of the first methods, number 1 of 3, that I like to use to claim land. Just put thick mulch down. You know, if you have chicken manure, it'd be really nice to put like a whole inch or half an inch of chicken manure first. That's going to give those wood chips enough nitrogen to start that decomposition process a little faster. All those little microbes will be a little happier, and you'll have a garden that much faster. But if you have wood chips that were from a whole tree and they were mostly limbs and branches and twigs and leaves, that's going to break down pretty fast too, because all those tender parts of a tree are going to have more nitrogen than like the trunk would. Down the road, I'll be explaining. Those crows are loud. What are y'all doing? See you next time on the Garden Guy channel. Woo!